The name I gave this campaign when I pitched it to my players was The Empire of Steel. I wanted to do a campaign about a war. I imagined it as featuring this big, imposing, unstoppable military empire that the party would be forced to stand against. Going into the campaign, the players knew a bit about the world. It took place on the continent of Beast Mecca, which was split between several large nations that had gone to war with one another 50 years prior. 10 years before the campaign, two of these countries, the Iron Kingdom and Blitzen, merged together to form the Empire of Steel. Shortly after forming, the Empire conquered the party's fighter Karravandar's homeland, Mital, stripping it of resources before being forced out. 5 years ago, the Empire conquered Valviento, a small country on its border. The party lived in Woodwillow, a low-tech country consisting mostly of farmers, and I know this is an exposition dump, but it's important. At the start of the campaign, the party found the corpse of a messenger from the Brazza Desert to the west. In the messenger's pocket, they found a letter written to the King of Woodwillow that gave a dire warning. The Empire of Steel had invaded and conquered Oasis, the capital city, in a single day, using a massive black bird that summoned hurricanes as it flew. The message warned that the Empire would not stop in Brazza, that it would continue to expand until the entire continent lived under its heels. The party's artificer, a magic researcher from the Empire named Hugo Wells, was confused by this. The Empire wouldn't do this. I mean, sure, that stuff in Valviento was kinda shitty, but we aren't that bad. It took all of Karravandar's willpower to avoid strangling him for being a bootlicker. The party decided to go to the capital city of Fiore and pass the letter on to the king. He was not what they hoped to meet. He was a sickly old man whose crown barely fit on his head. Karravandar refused to speak with the king and instead explained things to his muscular bodyguard, Sir Sylvester. "Yes, I suspected the Empire would do something like this eventually," the king said. "I am quite scared of the danger that may come to Woodwillow." "Tell me of your battle strategy." "Battle strategy? Well, I'm not quite sure." "I am not speaking to you. I am speaking to the military commander." Woodwillow has a few forts, a few small battalions, some rudimentary weaponry. Nothing as dangerous as this massive bird you spoke of, if that's what you're asking. "We cannot survive a war with such a powerful foe. The soldiers from the Iron Kingdom and the weaponry from Blitzen are unmatched. I believe there is only one solution. I shall send a message to the Empire and negotiate a peace before the war begins." Karravandar stared at the king with contempt. He turned around and whispered in the ear of Graven, the party's rogue. "I think we should kill this king." "What? He is cowardly and weak-willed. Woodwillow needs a strong leader for what is coming. Thus, this one must be removed." "I'm not killing him. That's stupid." "Huh, very well." Sometimes having that guy is unfun, but sometimes you get a player whose that guyness is so high, it loops around to being fun again because it's just so stupid. The conversation was cut short when a fireball hit the palace window, shattering it. The king dove for cover as the party rushed outside. A dozen metal airships circled around the city, their cannons trained on the palace. A military commander from one of the ships leaped down, cracking the stone street as he landed. A squad of soldiers rappelled down after him. "So sorry about that. One of the privates' finger slipped and accidentally pressed the fire cannon button. Don't worry, he's been disposed of," the buff military commander explained. "You." "I'm sorry, have we met?" "Actually, don't answer that, because I don't really care. I'm General Torsten Strongarm from the Empire of Steel. I'd like to talk with your king." The party drew their weapons and attacked the soldiers. Strongarm stood back and watched. The monk, Vixen, punched one of the soldiers in the face, knocking him back. He landed in front of Strongarm, who pulled out a massive axe and swung it down on the soldier's throat, killing him instantly. "Honestly, I should thank you. You did a wonderful job getting rid of the weaklings who dragged the army down," Strongarm said. "But I'm a busy man, and you're annoying me." He pointed the axe at Vixen and cast the spell Flame Strike, knocking him out instantly. Karravandar charged in and swung his sword at Strongarm. Strongarm blocked the blade with his forearm and slammed the axe into Karravandar's stomach, clearing away half of his health with a single blow. Hold it, everyone calm down, there is no need for fighting. The general here explained that it was a misfire. Let's not be hasty and cause more deaths." "What are you doing, coward?" "Negotiating." "Huh, I regret my restraint. I count 12 ships with 10 guns each. That's enough to destroy the city before we can blink. In situations like this, a calm head is preferable. Strongarm and the king marched into the palace. 10 minutes later, the party was allowed back in. Strongarm sat on the throne, holding the king's crown in his hand. Hey, guess what? His Highness here just graciously decided to sign a treaty with the glorious Empire of Steel. It was the best thing for our people, and although I am still just itching for a fight, sometimes it's nice to sit down and celebrate an easy victory. You will not take this country so easily, demon. That sounds like a threat. Your Highness, are you just gonna let these trespassers threaten a visiting dignitary? That sounds like the type of thing that could cause an international incident, and no one here wants that. Sylvester, take them to the dungeon. Put them in that cell in the southwest corner. Sir Sylvester and a dozen Woodwillow guards approached the party, weapons drawn. We would rather die than be captured. We would? I would like to state for the record that I would prefer to stay conscious. Prison is much better than hell. I mean, hell isn't that bad if you ignore all the screaming and torture and fire. Silence! We will not be defeated. Smash cut to the party defeated and in jail. Karravandar was the only one who the guards had to knock out. When he woke up, Graven and Hugo were busy examining the wall of the cell. Hugo pushed on an off-colored brick, and the cell wall slid away, revealing the open night air. Interesting. The party walked out to find Sylvester standing there, next to a chest. I apologize for the subterfuge, but this seemed to be the easiest way to get you out of the city without the Empire's forces noticing. It's fine. It is not fine. We were beaten and thrown in a cell. Correction. You were beaten. The rest of us surrendered. His Majesty is truly sorry for any discomfort you may have experienced. We would have preferred to fight, but there is a problem with that approach. The warships. That and something else. Strongarm informed us that the Empire has seized Fort Sapling, a military fort where the king's only son, Prince Nerium, is staying. The king will not fight against the Empire while his son is in danger. But never mind that. All of you are free to go. I would suggest leaving Woodwillow. Things will become very unpleasant here very quickly. If the prince is in danger, then why don't we just rescue him? I mean, we are escaped fugitives that hate the Empire. Hate is a strong word. If we save the prince, no one can hold it against you. Thank you for the generous offer. If you are successful, you will be heralded throughout Woodwillow as heroes. We want money and land. Fine. That too can be arranged. Your weapons, along with a small amount of money to compensate you for your discomfort, can be found in the chest. The chest stood up and walked over to the party. Sir Sylvester, your chest, has legs. And teeth. Yes, it's some cursed abomination created during the Great War. It's bigger on the inside, but it creeps all of us out. Honestly, feel free to take it. I'm gonna name you Chester. As the party turned to walk away, Karravandar glanced back at Sylvester. Know this, knight. When we meet again, I will kill you for your transgressions. If you save this land, that is a trade I am happy to make. The party headed south and arrived at the village outside the fort. From talking with the villagers, the party learned that the Empire was using the fort as a prison. Soldiers were traveling out to surrounding villages, kidnapping people, and dragging them back to the fort, then shipping them to the Braza Desert. No one who had been taken to the desert had returned. The party assumed they were executed. As the party talked to the people of the village, they realized something was off. The village was filled with young, able-bodied laborers. You'd have expected the Empire to kill those who could fight back, but instead they had taken away the sick and the elderly. At night, while meeting with the villagers, Karravandar stood up and raised his sword. I am Karravandar of Mittal. I fought the Empire before and was victorious. Unlike you cowardly whelps, I understand the true nature of war. Taking this fort will be easy if you do what I say. Karravandar drew up battle plans. Of course, the siege would have been easier with magic items, which is why I was fortunate that a conspicuous taco truck, operated by a weird old guy from the last campaign, was sitting outside the town. I'm a planeswalker now, shouted McGucket. Go watch Torchbearers, it makes more sense then. Karravandar bought a Javelin of Lightning and a few uses of Dust of Dryness. Aros bought an alchemist's jug. Ah, clever. We can use the jug to create beer, then poison it, weakening our enemies. Oh, that's an idea, I guess. I was planning to fill Chester with honey. Why? so we can sell it and use the money to buy more alchemy jugs, which we can then use to make more honey, which we can sell to. Got to the next morning. The airship flew off towards the desert, leaving the fort short-staffed. Karravandar ordered a villager to walk up and deliver a keg of beer to the soldiers as a peace offering. Half of the 12 soldiers drank the beer, laced with scorpion poison, losing most of their health in the process. The remaining soldiers marched down the bridge, over the fort's moat, ready to kill some villagers. Karravandar stood at the other end. "Oros, hand me my javelin." Oros pulled the javelin out of Chester and handed it to Karravandar. The honey-coated javelin felt sticky in his hand. As the soldiers charged down the bridge, Karravandar let loose the javelin. It transformed into a bolt of lightning, tearing through the soldiers. As they fell to their knees, injured, Karravandar threw a small pellet. A pellet created using dust of dryness that exploded into a 15-foot cube of water when it landed, sweeping the soldiers into the moat. The party charged down the bridge and fought against the remaining soldiers. The fight was easy until one of the soldiers ran up to a metal box sitting in the middle of the fort and pressed a button. The box opened and out rose a metal soldier holding a large sword. Karravandar charged in and was stabbed through the heart immediately by the machine. Then, things froze and rewound as Hugo Wells chronally shifted, changing a lethal critical hit into a miss. Karravandar struck the robot, knocking it back before downing a healing potion. The sound of footsteps on stone filled the air as Vixen led an army of villagers into battle. They swarmed the robot, hitting it with pans and hammers and knives. Fun fact about 20 commoners, they hit less than half the time and only do about 2 damage per hit, but if you get a lot of them, that damage adds up. The villagers tore the metal soldier apart. Karravandar tore down an Empire flag as they retook Fort Sapling. The party walked down to the prison in the fort's basement, opening all of the cells. At the end of the hall, they found a cell containing the young prince. Karravandar bent down to speak with him. "Prince of Woodwillow, do you know what you are? Free?" "No!" "Well, yes, but that is not the important thing. You are king!" "What? Your father is dead." "What?" "No, he isn't." "He should be dead. He is a coward." "He's still alive, though." "But he should be treated as dead." "You, prince, it now falls to you to retake your country, to fight off these invaders. The war has begun, and you shall lead your armies into battle. What say you?" "So, is my dad dead?" "Forget about your father!" War had begun, and as with most D&D campaigns about war, it was the party's job to end it.